Hi, David O'Sullivan here, and in this video I'm going to be doing a review for Star Wars The Force Awakens. And this is going to be a spoiler-free review, and I'm going to try to avoid spoilers as much as possible because I want to make this a review that everyone can watch and hear my thoughts without, the film being ruined for them, because not everyone might have seen the film yet. So yeah, I'm going to try and be as spoiler-free as possible. So first off, straight away, Star Wars The Force Awakens is easily the best Star Wars movie since Return of the Jedi. It's, leaps and bounds ahead of the prequels. It's definitely the best one since, 1983. It was everything I wanted a new Star Wars movie to be and more, and it was everything I think a Star Wars movie should have been. From the opening titles and scrolling text, I was immediately immersed and invested back into the world of Star Wars. I knew straight away, right from the beginning, that I was in for a great ride, and I knew that from right at the beginning that I wasn't going to be disappointed. I just felt immediately at ease and relaxed, and I just knew that I was in store for something great. Yeah, as the movie began and we started getting all the familiar tropes, I just felt immediately at ease, and it just put a smile on my face, even before the movie really began. Straight away from the get-go, what was immediately apparent and leaps and bounds ahead of the prequels was the camera work and how it was all filmed. J.J. Abrams did such a fantastic job with this film. When I first heard that he was when he was announced as the director of the new Star Wars movie, I was slightly hesitant because he did a great job of Star Trek. Within Star Wars, Star Trek, they're very different things, but he did such a fantastic job in bringing to life a new Star Wars movie and just capturing it in such a spectacular way. It was just so well done. He really made it feel like a classic Star Wars movie. It enhanced how it was all filmed. It was all just done so well. Long sweeping camera movements that really helped immerse you into the world of the film. It made you feel like you were there on this journey with these characters. It was great because so many big blockbuster action movies nowadays, they're just, shot in just a really irritating way. It's just really, the camera's moving all over the place, it cuts all the time, but that was definitely not the case with The Force Awakens. There was just so many nice, long, sweeping camera movements that was the complete opposite of what you kind of normally get in a typical, generic blockbuster action movie, and it was just so pleasing to see, and it really helped immerse you into the film, make you feel like you were there. It was just great. And of course, all the action sequences as well are all fantastically well filmed. I was 100% invested and engaged the entire time. I constantly had my eyes on the screen and never wanted to take my eyes away in case I missed something important. The fight scenes, the space battles, the aerial chase scenes were all extremely exhilarating and invigorating and riveting to watch unfold. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. It felt like I was there in this other world with these characters. The pacing was spot on as well. It's an extremely fast-paced movie. It's constantly moving and it never stalls and stops. But I really like that. So many films nowadays, there's lots of moments where they just stop and just get quite dull and boring to watch, but that is definitely not the case with The Force Awakens. It's constantly moving and it's constantly, exciting to watch. It never gets dull or boring at all. The characters were all great as well, and they were definitely, without a doubt, the stars of the show. It was great to see iconic, beloved characters like Han Solo and Chewbacca making their return to the big screen. It was just great. As soon as they were back, it felt like they'd never been gone. It was just great. I just love the characters of Han Solo and Chewbacca. They just make a great double act, and there was this great humour back and forth between them, and whenever they're on screen it just puts a smile on your face. And Harrison Ford is just great as Han Solo. It was his first big role that made him a star, and he just really embodies that character so well. Harrison Ford is Han Solo. It's just great. Also, the other returning characters like Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia or General Organa now, and then of course R2-D2 and C-3PO. But the main returning characters were Han Solo and Chewbacca. They played the biggest part in the story. The other returning characters were there, but they didn't have as big as a presence. They only had small parts really, but it was great to see them back. However, the standouts were definitely the new characters, and I found that quite surprising because I didn't know whether I would like these new characters as much as the iconic returning characters, but I did. I liked them just as much, maybe even more. and I was so glad because I really wanted to like them and I really wanted them to be great characters that I'd really love and want to see come back, and they were. I just loved them all. John Boyega's film was so much fun. You could tell that he was really excited to be in a Star Wars movie. He brought so much energy and enthusiasm and excitement in his performance as that character, and he was just instantly likeable and just so much fun to watch. He was probably the main source of comic relief in the film in terms of like how he'd react and respond to certain situations and remarks he would give. It was just so much fun to watch. Speaking of humour, there was a lot of humour in the film, and I know for a lot of people that is like a criticism. They thought it was too much humour, but I didn't think there was too much humour. There was a lot of humour, but I think it was all handled really well because it was dark and serious when it needed to be, but it was fun and light-hearted as well. And that's what I like about the original films. There are some dark, sombre, serious moments, but they're nice and fun and light-hearted as well a lot of the time. And that was the same with The Force Awakens. It was great, just so much fun to watch. However, my favourite new character is probably Rey, played by Daisy Ridley. She's a relative newcomer, but she did such a fantastic job in her role. You really bought into her performance. It was so utterly convincing and believable in her role. You believed she was that character, and she did such a great job at making you feel like this was a real character. You know, it didn't feel like you were watching an actress pretending to be a character. You felt like you were watching a real kind of person. It was great. She did such a great job. She was a really likeable character, and you really connect with her character, and you really latch onto her, and you're rooting for her all the way. Oscar Isaac as well was also great as Poe Dameron. He brought so much confidence and charisma to the part he was playing, and yeah, I really liked him, so much so that I wanted to see more of him. So hopefully we'll see more of him in, future sequels. The new droid BB-8 I also really loved as well. I was worried whether I would like BB-8 or not, whether I'd find him slightly annoying or not, but I really loved him. He was probably my favourite droid. It was just, for a voiceless robot, he had so much personality and character to him. He was just so much fun to watch. He was never annoying. He just always put a smile on your face. Kylo Ren as well also made a terrific bad guy. He had a Darth Vader type vibe to him, but he was a completely different character because I was really worried that he would be kind of just a Darth Vader rip-off. Like, they could have so easily have just done that, just a rip-off of Darth Vader. But he wasn't. He was his own character, that he stood on his own, and he was just really different and interesting. And because they could have so easily just done a rip-off of Darth Vader, but they didn't. They did something new and different, and I really liked that and appreciated that. Because a lot of the time in these big movies, the villains can just be really boring and generic and stereotypical, but that wasn't the case with Kylo Ren. He was a really interesting character, and Adam Driver did a great job as well. Another positive I have to give as well is the sound. The sound design, everything sounded so good. Force Awakens is the first Star Wars movie I've seen in the cinema. I didn't bother seeing the prequels in the cinema, but it sounded so good. I've only ever heard a Star Wars movie on TV before, but hearing it in the cinema was so good. All the iconic sounds like the lightsabers and the lasers and the spaceships were great to hear. But my favourite sound was whenever Kylo Ren was using the Force. It was just like this, and it just sounded so epic and so good because visually there's nothing there. It's just him out of his hand, but it sounded so good. The sound was just done so well. It was just so epic, and it really made you feel this power, even though you couldn't see anything. There was nothing there visually, but the sound, it sounded so good. I definitely think it should be nominated for sound design. And also the score by John Williams again was another highlight. The music was just perfect. It was just spot on. It just really helped to bring it all together and make it feel like a classic Star Wars movie. There was no doubt that The Force Awakens definitely was in the spirit and the essence of the original Star Wars films, and the music really helped. It was obviously a major factor in that. In terms of criticism, if I really had to nitpick, the story itself wasn't anything special in terms of it wasn't anything radically new and different we hadn't seen before. But then again, I can't really complain for them sticking to the formula because it's a tried and tested formula that really works. And I'm glad they went back to making it feel like a classic Star Wars movie. The prequels tried something different and they failed miserably. It didn't work at all. So I'm really glad they made it feel like the original Star Wars movies. felt like kind of like A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back. And from a Star Wars movie, you don't really want anything radically new and different you haven't seen before. It's not an independent art house drama looking to win Oscar for Best Screenplay. You just want to be entertained by it and have fun, and they did such a great job. The script was written really well, and yeah, so I can't really complain there that it wasn't anything, you know, completely new and different, because I can't blame them for keeping it safe and sticking to the formula, because like I said, it's a tried and tested formula. It works well, and it's what you want to see. And also, I was thoroughly entertained. I found the film thoroughly entertaining and enjoyable to watch. If I didn't, then obviously it would be a problem, but the fact that it was entertaining and enjoyable to watch, I can't really complain. Also, there were certain new characters that probably weren't as well realised as maybe they could have been. For example, there are two emotional capture characters, but specifically Supreme Leader Snoke, played by Andy Serkis. A great performance by Andy Serkis. His voice was great, perfect for that character. But seeing as there was so much practical effects in the film, like it really harkened back to the originals. It was all felt so realistic. Almost every alien creature was done practically. It all looked so real that when we suddenly got this massive CGI motion capture character, it kind of took you out of the film a little bit, because it was like, whoa, it just felt a little out of place. You know, it wasn't horrendously bad CGI or anything. It's just the fact that there was such a big emphasis on practical effects that when we suddenly got this massive CGI character, it kind of felt a little out of left field. It kind of, you know, it didn't really work. The other motion capture character, played by Lupita Nyong'o, I think was probably better because she was smaller, so it didn't look as over the top and out of place. But Supreme Leader Snoke, yeah, he wasn't a bad character. He looked great. It was a great performance by Andy Serkis. It's just the fact that we had this massive CGI character in amongst this world of realism. It just felt a little out of place. And also there were other new characters such as Domhnall Gleeson's General Hux and Gwendolyn Christie's Captain Phasma, who, although were good characters and they were, you know, great performances, you know, they were good characters. They were portrayed really well by the actors, but we didn't really see that much of them. And also I can't shake the feeling that they weren't entirely relevant or necessary to the film. You know, they weren't massively important to the story, and it didn't really feel like they needed to be there. I kind of feel like if they were taken out, it wouldn't have really kind of, you know, the film wouldn't have really lost anything. I don't know if they really needed to be there, but you know, it would have been nice to see a little bit more of them. But again, I'm really nitpicking. You know, they were good characters and they were acted well. It's just that they didn't really feel like they were entirely needed. Overall, I really liked The Force Awakens. It was everything I wanted a new Star Wars movie to be. I had so much fun. It was just thoroughly entertaining and enjoyable to watch from start to finish. Yeah, it was one of the best experiences I've had in the cinema so far this year. I just really couldn't see how anyone could not like this film. I mean, it had everything in there for the fans, but I really think this is a film that will please both the fans and newcomers as well. Like, it had everything in there for the fans, but I think it was great as a standalone film as well. I mean, it harkened back to the original films. It was like a continuation of the Star Wars saga, but it also stood in its own as a great standalone film, and it was a great setup for future installments as well. So I think it did everything it needed to do, and it did it all so well. It was just so well executed. There were little things here and there that I wasn't too keen on, but other than that, I thought it was just a great film. I'm going to give Star Wars The Force Awakens 5 stars. So there we go, that was my review for Star Wars The Force Awakens. If you like this video, make sure to hit subscribe to see more. But for now, I've been David O'Sullivan. I'll see you next time.